But I mean, again, like you said, the season records are quite unevenly balanced. But again, playing at this level in the CRL, I mean, anything could happen, as we just saw with that series. So we will get started with this Bocage hard point, and it'll be Boston Burgers taking the early lead, but Minnesota bringing it right back. Now it's going to get very mixy on the point, as Minnesota is going to play around with Boston a little bit, but Boston actually managing to keep Minnesota right out of the point, and Boston still has the ever so important P2 spawns, but Minnesota is just winning every engagement they take. Well, there you go. Boston will reclaim some of that slaying power, but Minnesota is pushing up inch by inch onto this map, and with a few engagements won, they might be able to flip this on its head. Minnesota now has P2 spawns. Boston now on the back foot. Boston and Minnesota now focusing on that P2 hardpoint.
Yeah, focusing on that P2 hardpoint, but it looks like the spawns will be in favor of Minnesota here for the time to be. See Ent and number 8 in your screen perk, looking towards skewer that's towards those P2 spawns. But unfortunately for them, Boston Burgers are going to be trying to take this break through the side of Barn. Dell with 161, Puma with a third, leaving number 5, Kopi last left alive while the rest of his team comes off spawn, trying to play his life, able to get 1 for his troubles. By 60 coming on through, able to pick him off here shortly, while the rest of Minnesota spawns towards that water side. But Boston Burgers are, they have such a far trek to hit to this P2 hill that it's giving Minnesota the opportunity to get a majority of this time here as we hit 27 seconds left in the hill. Nice name there by 16 at least to keep them off there a little short time. But Minnesota with a comfortable lead here as we head towards the speed rotation.
Yeah, as we head towards this P3 rotation, Minnesota definitely in a little bit of a relaxed position, but Boston has the opportunity to run it up here, as they will have to set up and they will have the spawns, but that number 6 player rare could make it interesting, but unfortunately goes down. Now Minnesota is going to be all the sides around this point. That number 1 in seasoned, playing side tower, but will get caught from behind. Boston still has the spawn so far, but Minnesota in the meanwhile has taken over the point. Boston's going to need to dominate, and dominate they will for the time being, as Boston still on this point and Minnesota attacking from the front. This is good time if you could get it. Still 40 seconds left in this hill, and all of Minnesota is here. It's like Smash Bros. Everybody is here, and well, Minnesota will come out on top with Boston again just a few seconds behind due to those spawns. Minnesota is fighting an uphill battle here, but they're doing it pretty well, all things considered. Minnesota at least getting a contest through. Minnesota now just slaying out again. Boston still spawning here, still walking right back onto the point, but Minnesota so confident in attacking from the front and getting some nice kills to back up that confidence. But let's put that P3 behind, because now we're going to P4. Minnesota with a comfortable lead and did some really great work from the front on P3, but now they have the setup, now they have the spawns. This could be a great opportunity for Minnesota to extend this lead.
Yeah, Minnesota to extend this lead, and they've done a great job. They've been holding it to the front. I mean, look at the stat line. Colby 18-7, absolutely slaying out for his team right now and doing a lot of the work. You see Ed playing his life nicely well in the hill while the rest of the team goes down. We'll try and stay alive and finesse, but we'll get cut down, and Boston Burgers finally able to break on through. But Colby, once again, being that a nuisance, playing around barn area, while he won't have control of the hill, he's going to be able to set up this pinch with his team. And they're just keeping it mixy, which is all they really can ask for at this point. They're up by 40 points. They don't have the rotation to P5, but they've been outslaying Boston heavily, at least at the beginning of this map, and it's just a matter of can they continue that. Boston, on the other hand, are looking towards that P5 rotation. They know that they can easily claw their way back in if they're able to get a solid hold here, but that's just a matter of time. You see Puma searching for this player. We'll pick up another one in the kill feed, looking for the player that hit tunnel, but we'll get caught. And it's the rest of the team trying to, pick up those plays. Dell trying to search for this player that's coming through tunnel, but 16, it will get him from time. We'll get naded out shortly after, but Boston, at least in the initial start of the hard point, doing a good job to hold.
Yeah, and listen, while we're waiting for this P5 to kind of shake out, which it looks like Minnesota is doing a great job of reclaiming, you also have to give kudos to Minnesota's slaying power. Colby at a 21-11, almost a 2.0 KD, and just some really great slaying power there. Colby being an MVP for the team, and which has probably contributed a lot to getting the scoreline that they have so far and getting the plays that they have so far, including retaking this P5 hill from a very dug deep Boston. But now you have to go to P1, and this time around, Boston will have the spawns to start, but you can't let Minnesota get it for P2 like they did last time. Boston is going to get on this P1 hill, get some good time there, but Minnesota is creeping ever so slightly up this P2 side and back into Barn, and they're going to attack this P1 hill again. Minnesota gets some good time on it, but not able to get spawns so far. But, you know, anything could happen. 30 seconds still left on this P1. Minnesota deciding whether they want to stand on it or really go for the spawns. And it looks like Boston is spawning P3, but you still have that number 2 player in, well, in 16, still in that P2 side of the map. So spawns are a little bit of a mess so far, but Minnesota getting some great slaying power. Boston has the spawns for P2, but they don't have the scoreline, and they certainly did not have a great P1.
Yeah, did not have a great P1, and it's just the presence and the pressure that Minnesota's put on the map. It doesn't seem like Boston has much of an answer, but Boston, with a bit of a blessing, is going to be able to spawn towards that P2 side area, especially water. But you see number 7 and just playing his life, waiting for the reinforcements to come on through. You know, kills going in Boston's favor, but they're not getting it at the time. It's sort of the story of this map. They've been able to do a great job of breaking and holding hills for a little bit of a moment, but it's just that they're not getting securing any reputable time. Like here, you finally see the players stacked into those barn area inside of Minnesota, opting to go all the way around through water, try and break this hill. You see Culpy get 1, Culpy gets 2, and just like that, the hill's been broken. Minnesota come on through, able to secure the majority of this time, recognizing that the spawn is water. Culpy, I mean, just look at the amount of pressure he's putting on the map. It must be a nightmare for the Boston players to have a spawn up and just instantly pre-aim, because Culpy's going to be right in your face. And just like that, he's also looking towards this new rotation. Boston able to take Minnesota off the time, but with a 150 to 80 lead, it's really Minnesota's game to play with right now.
Yeah, it's Minnesota's game to play with. Colby has just extended their KD since we last talked about it, currently sitting at 33 and 14. And as long as Colby still keeps doing that, Boston is going to have a tough time. But Boston is now the ones holding this hill from the front. We saw Minnesota in this position make some great work happen, but I mean, Boston is going to have to face some very, very difficult players, and face them they will not be able to do, as Minnesota gets a clean 4 down, pushes right into P1, and delays the Boston push back onto that P3 even further. If you're Boston, you might take some solace in the fact that you're literally standing on where P4 will start, so you might be able to get a great setup there, but I mean, it's not good. Looking at the scoreline, looking at the time Minnesota has got on this P3 hill, and looking at how your one opportunity to hold it, you kind of did not be able to hold from the front as well as Minnesota did on the last rotation. But again, this is Platinum Premade. I have to reiterate, anything could happen. I mean, we've seen some amazing comebacks. Think of map 4 in last series, and Boston is going to give us a show by standing on this P4 hardpoint and being ready for any player that walks right into it. This hardpoint currently, right now, anyone's game. Is Minnesota going to push the Boston players off the hardpoint, but Boston not going to give it up and going to win the gunfights they need to keep control of it. I'm not sure how much left. Ooh, 30 seconds still left here. This is still good time. If you're Boston, you certainly can't afford to just ignore it and let Minnesota get the rest of this time. But if you're Minnesota, you have some options here. You have the ability to focus on P5. And, well, I thought these players from Minnesota might wrap completely around, but they chose to collapse back in on the P4 point, get the scrap time, and finally do end up wrapping around. But Boston is going to need to get the kills in their back to have a very safe entry onto this P5 hardpoint.
Yeah, safe entry into this P5 hardpoint, but just like that, Minnesota has flipped the spawns into their favor. And you see number 8 Perk just being a nuisance, being so aggro through middle map, so aggro in fact, that he ends up flipping the spawns back in Boston's favor. But that seems like the sort of game they've been playing. They're just getting in the face of Boston, constantly, making their push staggered by flipping spawns, being aggressive, and catching them off guard. And Boston really hasn't had much of an answer, unfortunately, for them side. With 10 seconds left on the time, they're just going to have to run it hill and make something happen. You see Season's waiting, trying to get a pick, but will get cut down by Perk. Dello jumping on the hill, trying to find one. Will get on through for the time being. Looks for the second. Will get traded out shortly. So Boston able to delay the end of the hard point for just a little bit. But once again, you see Rare with that glide bomb was able to pick up streaks earlier in the hard point, looking for more kills, but unable to find so. But with almost, with 5 seconds left for Minnesota, this map is, looks to surely be over. I don't know how Boston can make much of a comeback at this point. It's just been great gameplay by Minnesota. I mean, you see 40 kills for Colby. I mean, 40 and 24, just a dominant stat line. Not much else you can do beside of Boston. 3 go down. The glide bombs invested, and surely that should be it. See Season trying to make a play. Will get picked off in the hard point, and with 3, 2, 1, we should have it. But just like that, Boston just slowly trying to be that a nuisance, keep themselves alive, and even with 2 seconds left, they're doing a good job, at least keeping off the time and staying competitive.
Staying competitive indeed. Gotta tip the hats to Boston. Not going to let Minnesota have a comfortable end to the series, but have an end to, or sorry, not the series, this map. Have an end to this map, they will. And I mean, just really great plays throughout for Minnesota the entire time.
Yeah, just a great place with Minnesota. I mean, again, it was the aggression from especially players like Colby that kept them
But we'll see what happens here as we get right on into it. Boston gonna pick up the bomb and head over to this B side. Play for info once again. Try to see catches Minnesota 2 players on the other side. Surely that intel is going to come through, and they're going to be very happy in the choice to go B as they get one very important kill on the Colby as the bomb gets planted at B. Well, hits a 4v2 for Boston right off the bat, and Dello going to hold a very important sight line, looking over the street side. And well, Boston has locked down this bomb pretty damn well. Minnesota has a lot of work to do right now.
All right, so with a lot of work to do, 4v2 situation. The Rare has been spotted out, able to get seasoned there onto that Dice Heady. But again, a lot of information to do to 20 seconds left. 16 will get the hit marker, will be able to pick off Rare and try to make a play, but alas, not much you could do there in that 1v3 with bomb down. And a great round there by Boston Burgers and a great response after, what was a bit of a lackluster map 1 from them.
A great response out of Boston for sure, and if you want to cut Minnesota's momentum short, that's exactly what you're going to want to do. So Boston had a great start to get this map to win if they can execute on 5 more rounds, but Minnesota surely is going to bring this A game now on the side of offense. We'll see them seemingly go the different route, the route less taken by Boston, and go towards this A bomb site, very confident in their fast engagement. But look at Boston, they really stack a B. They see nobody there. They're gonna get the intel to wrap around, but I mean, you invested so much in the B, this bomb's already gonna go down, and all of a sudden it's a 4v4 retake, which don't always go as smoothly as you want if you're gonna be decide trying to get that defuse. But you'll see that Boston gonna kind of collapse around from all sides. It's number 4 player in Puma trying to get a pick, but it'll be number 7 Ent who will get a pick instead. Boston 3v1 actually has a really great turnaround, but they still need to get that last player before they can defuse the bomb in comfort. Colby going to have to check this bomb real quick, or Boston's gonna have to get on the defuse real quick. But Colby just slaying out. Boston's just not on the defuse despite having the numbers, and Colby does just enough to make sure this bomb goes off and has the round 2 win.
Yeah, round 2 win. Great job by Colby there in that 1v2, playing his life, able to get that pick and then making sure that the player wasn't on bomb. Despite the rest of his teammates sort of going around, so that's a 1v3 there for Colby. Great plays by him. You saw Boston essentially give up the A bomb site and look to play that retake and that post plan, which they did quite effectively, getting those picks around P5 and top third. It was just Colby that they weren't able to find out, and he was able to win that 1v3 there. But the nice consolation there for the Boston Burgers is that 16 will be on a 5 streak, 2 kills away from that glide bomb, which can be big on a map like Berlin. He looks for Perk. Perk trying to counter snipe him, but will get taken down. They make that 6 in a row for 16, 1 away from the glide bomb, and once again the bomb's going down B. So Colby able to pick up season and recognize that that player is stuck in bomb site. Rare going for this pick on the 16, and that's massive. I don't think I understand how big that kill is. At least take him off streaks as the retake comes on through. Puma able to even it up at 1-1, but now it's Dell last alive in a 1v2 with 20 seconds left. He's gonna have to try and make a play here. He's got bomb planted for him, but Colby will be able to wall bang him through the window. And sure enough, Minnesota have brought this back 2-1 in their favor.
Minnesota has brought this back 2-1 in their favor, and 2 rounds in a row, looking to chain even more rounds to get to that golden number 6. But yeah, I was so impressed with that kill by Rare onto 16. Like you said, I don't know if Rare, probably not, Rare knew how massive that kill was at the time of getting the kill, but 16, just one kill off of getting Glide Bomb. Rare shuts them down, and well, things are looking up for Minnesota, but Boston is going to put in the effort to darken the Minnesota's days on a very dark map of Berlin, ironically. But you will see Minnesota go towards this B side. I don't even know if they got on the barrels to check for intel. They were just confident in their play, and you see Boston having the unfortunate reads all game long on defense, overcommit to A. They get the intel, I'm sure, that this B bomb is being attacked, but again, you invested 3 players on A, and now you have the responsibility of wrapping all the way around in a 4v4 retake. And now Boston not really having their ace in the hole to wrap around from behind this time, going to have to challenge this from the front and win the very important kills. And you'll see the Boston members kind of group up here. Boston actually gets a nice kill, but is traded out. But well, you get a nice kill after a kill onto their own. So I mean, Minnesota just firing shots at the bomb point, trying to make sure the defuse doesn't happen. They're on the defuse if you're Boston, but you gotta just get a player there, and they do. And Minnesota is able to stop the defuse and get the round win.
Yeah, just a great job there. You saw what 16 was trying to do. Unfortunate for him, he got a hit marker on the player there in train. And I got to question Boston's defensive setups here. Twice now they've allowed the side of Minnesota to essentially get the plant uncontested and have to play a 4v4 retake, which, to their credit, the first time around, they're able to put themselves in a 3v1 situation, but they ended up losing it. And once again, there, they put themselves at the disadvantage of having to retake with not much time left on the clock. And so just a great play by Minnesota to be able to take that map control, recognize that once again, 16 going to be looking for this cross, and it looks like the Minnesota player is going to come back. Will 16 spot him? Yes, he will, but unable to get the snipe down. You see Boston look towards B. Rare, Minnesota this time getting aggressive into the area. P2 able to get bombed down, and nice man advantage there for Minnesota.
Nice man advantage there from Minnesota, and well, Minnesota executes on this man advantage, and they bring this to a 4v1. But again, they're gonna have to execute, so let's not speak too soon. Boston gonna bring back the man advantage to a 3v3, but this bomb is still yet to be planted, and there you go. Boston takes the life lead to make this a 3v2 situation in the round. But this bomb, again, still yet to be planted, and that clock is a ticking. And, well, you can't afford to wait too long if you're on the offensive side. 2v2 so far. I mean, this could be anyone's game. 16, well, that's alive on the Boston side. Now, certainly some work cut out for them. 16, though, the KD leader, if anyone's going to be able to clutch this out, it might as well be them. But I don't know if they can even get to the bomb side, get this defuse in time. Minnesota knowing exactly where to look, and closing out a 2v1 to bring it to a 4v1 in the map.
Yeah, 4v1 on the map, and it was just a great play by the side of Minnesota. Again, that aggression into the P2, able to get the bomb down, and then just work that man advantage, respectively. Boston really didn't have much they could do there, a little bit more passive. But again, the key here is their defense. They've been struggling on defense because of their passive setups. They've guessed wrong both times as to what bomb site Minnesota is going to go to. And so I'd like to see them try a bit of a split approach here. And it looks like they're going to do so, sending 2 to B and 2 to A. Once again, Minnesota are looking to hit out A fast like they did the first round on offense that they had. You see Perk this time hitting through secret, trying to set up a bit of a pinch. Will the player of Boston see him? He will, but it's this. Perk wins the gunfight, able to break on through, sort of rushes into bomb site alone. Will get taken down by Dello, but he'll get traded out shortly after, leaving a 2v2 situation to the side of Boston, making it a 1v3 for 16. The rest of his teammates go down around him. Bomb plant going down for Minnesota. There's not much left they can do. 16 are going to have to clutch this one.
Gonna have to clutch this one indeed, and that's gonna be a good start as they get a kill onto a Minnesota member, but still 1v2 with responsibility to defuse on the 16. Again, if you want a player to be in this position on Boston's side, it's going to be 16, as 16 has proven himself to absolutely be a playmaker, and that is no different with that kill on the Colby. Now a 1v1, 16 still has odds stacked against them, but will be caught from behind to bring this up to a 5v1 on the side of Minnesota.
Yeah, side of Minnesota, and then again, just impossible situation. 16, at least able to bring it down to a 1v1, but very difficult with the time dwindling. And once again, it's just the post plant setups for Minnesota just been too strong and too difficult for Boston to handle. Down 5-1, and that's 5 straight rounds from Minnesota, mind you. They've done a great job rebounding after that first round loss. But it's up to Boston Brewers to respond here on offense. This time, looking to go towards that A bomb site. They're not going to check the cross this time with 16 snipers, so won't get that information. Colby make a little bit of a sneaky play here. Okay, wrapping through P5, sort of blind countering the push of Boston. You see Dello, a man trying to watch the flank, able to pick him off. Good job by him, but it will be a 3v3 situation as Perk has essentially halted the push from Boston as they aren't even in the bomb site. Will he get over aggressive? Yes, he will. Will he win the gunfight? No, he won't. This time, Puma able to take him down, and that'll put Boston up 3-2.
But Boston 3-2, but that's brought back down to a 2v2. And again, planning responsibility is on Boston right now. You're going to have to get that bomb. You're going to have to get it down onto the bomb side. But Minnesota looking all around the point will catch Dello, but unfortunately for them, will not be able to close out the kill, except their teammate does. And Minnesota executes perfectly on each other and is able to close out the 2v1 advantage for the map point and going to win in S&D in a convincing fashion. I mean, Boston got the first round, but after that,
B point first. We'll see if either team looks to do that as well and get up an offense, which can definitely secure the map win. But as we start off with Minnesota on offense, they're doing a little bit of a different approach, sending one towards A, giving that information, but the rest are going to go through P5 to B. We're able to get that first pick, which will give Boston the information that maybe they're going towards A, but no, after that Season's pick on a perk, they should recognize that they're hitting this B point. You see Season trying to desperately track these players down from Minnesota, but they're already pushed up into their spawn, and just like that, kills going in favor of Minnesota Floppr, and they're onto that B point.
Kills going in favor of Minnesota and already on to that B point. Meanwhile, at A, there is also going to be an attack by Minnesota, and Boston just not able to read it because they're too busy dealing with the Minnesota players in their back spawn, and that's going to delay Boston to really addressing this A point, or maybe even at all. I mean, Boston back's completely turned to this A point, really focused on getting the two Minnesota players out of their spawn, and they seem content to just let Minnesota have the A point for now, and Boston's going to be doubling down on B. But in a world where round 5 is determined by ticks now, maybe it's not as simple leaving a point to just be captured. Maybe you'd want to challenge that a little bit more, but that's water under the bridge for now, as Minnesota is just absolutely slaying out from the front of this B point hill, and will actually maybe looking like they got a foot on it, but Boston is going to at least read one of them is still there, but also looking to get some defensive positions around the B point to keep Minnesota out.
Yeah, Puma with a nice slide there. I don't know if you'll understand how big that kill was, able to take Rare off streaks, shutting him down there. But the life advantage still in favor of Minnesota by 3. Boston will have some map control, able to de-tick B, so still 3 ticks in favor of Minnesota. But you see the push coming on through P5. They're checking all their corners. 16 able to get 1, gets 2, unable to get the 3rd, but doing a great job there to halt the push from Minnesota. He'll be able to spot Puma out. We'll look to take the chow. Pre-firing, waiting, expecting the retail to come in from the side of Puma, but he'll be patient and play passive as Boston sort of setting up a little bit of a square defense around the B point. A lot of the map control going in favor of Minnesota, and you see they're just waiting for number 2 Rare to make this pinch. And 16 gonna get bad timing. He's not gonna spot him, and it can be up to Rare to make this pinch. But the rest of Minnesota going on through, picks coming back and forth. Season's able to pick off the pinch from the side of Minnesota, essentially halting their push. Trades will go through for the side of Perk, but 16 trying to take one back, and will do. And shortly after, the push from Minnesota will be halted.
Push from Minnesota will be halted for now, with Minnesota in a world where ticks are now dominant. No need to hang back in your spawn and save for lives. They could still push this and try to go for broke here. Minnesota going to be doing just that. Rare, seeing this player in top radio, will eventually get that kill, but gets naded. Well, gets team naded, in fact. But I mean, Minnesota around this point has a foot on it so far, but I mean, they're going to have to get some very important kills on the Boston. That's a good start. That's a good double start. That's 3 down for Boston. All 4 down for Boston. Again, Boston has the spawns here, so they can challenge this, but they don't have any respawns remaining. It's just going to be a few key kills from Minnesota, and they'll have this offense, but it may not actually come down to that. I didn't even realize the 3-stack is coming through beautifully. Boston trying to get on that point to do something, anything that they can, but Minnesota just 2 stacked on that point to let a hole in their defense on B, and well, Minnesota takes a beautiful offense, and man, how important is an offense on control?
I mean, it's everything, and just such a great round by Minnesota. I felt like Boston was being a little bit too passive their defense. They weren't taking enough map control, and Minnesota sort of exposed that there towards the end, getting 3 picks and stacking the point. Word to Jims, as we always like to say, able to get that first offensive win, and that puts Boston all the pressure on Boston. Rather, they're gonna have to take an offense here if they want to get to that round 5 defense. Off to a little bit of a good start, but as I say that, Rare able to take one down on another 5 streak. Always seems to be on a streak whenever we hop on board with him, but we'll get cut down by Boston. You see Puma just laying on this point, waiting for those reinforcements. For Minnesota, they're not going to sweat. They recognize that they can afford to give it this 8-point here. Ticks aren't as big as they won that round 1 offense. All they have to do is secure their round 2 to get up 2-0 and essentially put this map out of control.
Yeah, I mean, you execute on the offense. Can you execute on the defense and go up 2-0, which is a position nobody would complain about being in? But Boston doing a great job in the meanwhile of getting this 8-point and even live count on the map. You'll see Minnesota try to anticipate where these Boston players are going to come from on a transition from A to B, but Minnesota is a little bit spread out here. Some key gunfights, and Boston might be able to have a good push up on this B point, and that's a good start out of Puma, getting a very important kill. And we'll maybe have an opportunity to get another one, as, I mean, 2 Minnesota players still focus on trying to find where Puma went. Meanwhile, Boston is attacking B from the front with 3 players to Minnesota's 2. Boston has a real opportunity to win out here if they get some important trades, but Boston's a little bit hesitant until they could get a pretty comfortable clearance. In the meanwhile, Minnesota is just being a real nuisance at that Boston offensive push. Boston just doesn't want to push up too much without their complete squad, and Minnesota's going to take advantage of that to push right through and really bait these Boston players out and take that to their advantage. And well, Minnesota slaying these Boston players, sending them back to their spawn, and no progress on B so far for Boston. Still a minute and some odd change for Boston to get a good push going, and plenty of lives to do so, but Minnesota is reading them pretty well, knowing where they're going to come from and watching every single angle on or around this B bomb site. So this might be the ball in Minnesota's court here.
And while Minnesota's court, they're starting to take that map control. They recognize that, hey, we pushed their P5, they're not here. They're relaying that to their team. They must be going to the church side area, and we'll get cut down. And is essentially sit on the tank probably the entire round, making sure that they can't hit through the back, and doing a great job of doing so, while the rest of the team make sure that the push can't come through front, the church and the P5 area. But it's really been staggering the push of Boston, but finally they're going to get some kills here. But as I say that, to go down and kill feed, Culpy and the rest of the squad doing a great job to at least halt the push. But Rare trying to make a play of his own, able to get one, knows that 16 is on the point, should recognize that it's back tower area, you see, and turn towards that side, trying to pick up the kill. But 16 doing a great job on a 3-streak, playing his life, trying to stop the time and give his teammates rather an opportunity to help him on this point. Trying to go into this radio side area, looking for another pick. We'll be able to get the one at the Culpy. The live advantage is not in their favor with 13 seconds left. They're going to have to make a play on this point if they want to win this round. 16 desperately getting on a 5-streak, getting kills all around the point. Throwing the nade while the rest of the team collapses on through, but he goes down. Puma will get killed by his teammates' nade. How unfortunate is that? And that should stop the push from Boston. Season going to try and make a Superman play to at least stop the time, but we'll get cut down. And just like that, Minnesota will take the second round.
Wow, what an important start to this map Minnesota has done on both sides of the coin. An offensive win is so incredibly important, but it means nothing if you don't execute on the defense as well. And Minnesota has been able to do just that. Ball is certainly in Minnesota's court here, as they just need one more round out of the next potential 3 to take not only this map, but this series as well. So we're going to see Minnesota again back on offense? Can they pull the Rapid out of the hat again and get another offensive win? Or maybe they'll look to the defensive side of things. But Minnesota, no, they want to close it out here. They get 3 kills right on,
Oh
make
my.
that 4 kills right on the Boston, push directly on to this A site. And well, they've got 3 players around A site. Boston very, very nervous to push up at this time. Gonna make sure they get the numbers to make a convincing push, but Minnesota knows exactly where to look, and ultimately Boston's not able to make that magic happen and protect A. A will go down, and B is the only point left, but Minnesota has a 6 life lead to start, and this is going to be something Boston's going to have to chase the entire round, as Minnesota playing with the confidence given to them by that life lead.
By the life lead, look at how aggressive they're being. They're just getting pushed up in the spawn. They recognize that they've been the more aggressive team in aggro in every aspect, and Boston really hasn't had much of an answer. They're going to continue to do so. Enton, we're picking up kills. Once again, 10 kill life lead for them in this round. They've just been so dominant in this control, and really this entire series. Boston, I mean, look at the entire kill feed, just purple, purple, purple. Finally, Delo able to put a stop to that, trying to make a push, able to get the second one for his troubles into P5. But once again, with that life lead in their favor, Minnesota can essentially afford to throw away lives here and continue to be aggressive to influence the spawns towards that field side area. Boston doing their best to stay in it, but with the life lead down 20-8, there's not much left they can do but hope to, essentially hold out for the remaining time. C16 once again playing his life. Puma able to get 1, and so Boston at least able to make a bit of a halt to this push from the side of Minnesota, where this pick able to spot Puma, and once again just wreaking havoc top church. Look at the map control that they have. Usually it's the opposite. Usually we see the defensive side able to push through church and P5, but it's Minnesota in their aggro plays that have been able to push Boston all the way back into their spawn. And just like that, 3 lives remaining for the side of Boston. This looks like a desperate cry for the side of Boston if they want to do anything here, and it should be it. Minnesota's been dominant, and they'll take this series respectively 3-0. Just what a performance for them.
What a performance by Minnesota this entire series. My God, what a just dominant on every single map. I think they won the hard point by close to 150. They won